Race swapping has become a hot button topic because of new shows like Mindy Kaling's Velma. But is there more to consider besides representation in media? On this episode of IMO, we discuss why people are uncomfortable with race swapping. I feel that race swapping, I am neutral to okay with it, right? If it does not get in the way of storytelling. I think if, let's say, we take away the whole idea of representation and then watch a movie that starts with ancient China as the premise in the bottom lower third.
Yeah.
And then they freaking see Madonna turn to face the camera in the middle of China.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Lester.
And yes, we are back for another episode.
We are back.
Please remember to follow us. We are Overthink SG everywhere. On Instagram, on Telegram, on Twitch, on YouTube, on TikTok. And then on Spotify, we are IMO.
Yes. As you guys can clearly tell, we are like a bit off it today. Because you guys...
I don't tell, I'm fucking energetic. I don't know what you're talking about.
People on YouTube, you guys won't notice because this is going to come out on Tuesday. But those people on Twitch knows this. We are filming this on a Wednesday. And for some reason, filming this one day, there's not... Basically, any day there's not a Thursday, right? Feels a bit off. Like.
I think it's jet lag.
I think so also. Like, to be very honest with you, we didn't know what you're going to talk about until literally 10 minutes before we rolled the camera.
Yeah, it was quite... We were quite a mess.
We were a mess and we are still a little bit of a mess. So we apologize in advance if this episode is not very coherent. But today we're going to be talking about, honestly, a rather serious topic for how unprepared we are and how sad we are feeling right now. But we nonetheless going to give it our best and try our best nonetheless. So the topic we're going to be talking about today is race swapping.
Yes.
So I'm a bit of... I hear the oohs and the ahs in the audience right now.
Really
clearly I can hear. I clearly can hear you guys say ooh and ah, and I hear your concerns.
Yes.
But I think we'll be mainly talking a little bit more about what we feel when you feel is appropriate.
Yeah. And we want to keep it as neutral as possible because we do understand that this can get a little bit contentious. Yes. So what we'll be sharing today will largely be our own opinions on the situation as two random Asian guys.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, we seem detached enough based on, I don't know, our races to be talking about this.
Right? I guess so. But okay, the reason why we're talking about it also is because recently, the backstory about this the reason why John even brought this up was because there's this show called Velma. And you hear Velma, a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's a Scooby Doo character, and you'll be right. Because Velma is a cartoon created by Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
And it's based off Scooby Doo.
Yes.
But this is a completely different cartoon, alright?
Yeah.
And based on this completely different cartoon, there's also a completely different movie.
Yeah. You know it's a completely different cartoon because in Velma, allegedly, there's no dog.
There's no Scooby Doo.
Allegedly, until it's out, we cannot confirm, right?
There's apparently no Scooby Doo, which is like a little bit weird, but you know what, you do you lah.
To me personally, that's a little bit of a red flag already.
It's kind of like how Lord of the... Okay, to be fair, it's kind of like how Lord of the Rings... What's the spin-off of Lord of the Rings? The prequel. What's it called? The Hobbit. Hobbit technically didn't have a ring in it. Even though it's a spin-off of Lord of the Rings.
But to be fair, Tolkien did write both of those books.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, but anyways, to get the point, Velma, the cartoon, had not recasted, but like race swapped a few of the characters. For example, and in the movie, it's also race swapped. I
didn't know there was a movie.
The show.
Right. We'll just be calling it a show.
Because we're not sure there's a movie.
Because there are a lot of things still going around and we're not confirmed and we do not work for HBO.
Okay, fine, the show. So the show is the like Daphne. Yes. Is recasted as Constance Wu is playing Daphne.
So Constance Wu is the voice of Daphne, and thus the character of Daphne has been recasted as an Asian cartoon lady. Yes. And
then Shaggy is a black guy now.
Yes, Shaggy is a black guy now.
And he's no longer called Shaggy.
Yeah, he lost his nickname. He went back to being Norville.
Yeah. Which is, to be fair, Shaggy's actual name.
Shaggy's canon name.
But if no one calls him Norville, alright?
No one knows Norville.
Everyone knows Shaggy.
Until Velma.
and then Velma is played by Mindy Kaling.
So race swap to her race.
Yeah. And then only Fred is
the
only white guy.
White guy.
He's the token white guy, alright? Yeah. He's the token white guy. And then everyone else is they've been recasted and everything.
And of course this is like a prequel to Scooby Doo, right?
Yeah.
Because the story is supposed to explore before
maybe that's why they don't have Scooby Doo. So Scooby Doo haven't buy
they went back in the past to a time where dogs don't exist?
No, they haven't buy Scooby Doo yet. Scooby Doo's
adopt, don't shop, guys.
They haven't adopted Scooby Doo yet. Depends on which one they go to. They haven't adopted Scooby Doo yet. Maybe that's why I don't have what. Actually, you fucking stupid. Why you do this episode? I actually got a lot of good reasons for doing this whole thing.
Okay, so also before they acquired the dog, right?
Yeah.
Shaggy was not a
Maybe
smoking white guy yet.
then he starts smoking weed, then he become white, and then he become white.
And then he bleached him.
Slowly. Slowly but surely became white.
Definitely.
He started hooking up with Fred, then eventually become
double
white.
eyelid surgery and everything, is it?
You know, there's a lot of things you can do in life, and being white is one of them, I guess. No, but like, okay, I don't know why it's going. Okay, anyways, but I think it's not just because of that. There's also been like I would say it's a trend, but there have been a few movies that have like I guess
a few shows lah.
they have like race
recent
swap.
years.
Yeah. Like for example, like Ariel.
Yes,
the Little
live
Mermaid.
action Little Mermaid.
Live action Little Mermaid is played by an African American, right? African American, right?
Yes.
African American. And then there's also Hermione,
Yes.
who in the theater, the Cush Tower, I think, is played by a black actress.
I didn't watch it, but
I watched it. I give my thoughts later.
Right.
And then there's also obviously the other end, which is the whitewashing end, which is
yes. We have been happening for ages.
we have been it's way too common in the past, like Goku being recasted as basically all white cast.
Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai.
And then Last Airbender.
Yeah.
What else?
A lot lah.
A lot lah.
You ask me
Matt
now
Damon in the Great War.
in the Great War.
So there's always been that, right? There's already been a precedence, I guess. So now, I would like. Okay, I feel like it would be more productive if productive in our aspect. If we remove the whole minority, there needs to be minority representation thing.
Okay. So today our discussion will not be centered around representation because that one will open a whole other
can of worms. Then we have to discuss like we have to weigh the things. Yeah, I think that's a lot more complicated. Yeah. And evidently we are too tired for that shit.
So our simple opinions today will center around how we feel about it.
About race swapping in terms of like whether or not it should be okay based on source material.
Correct.
And everything.
And the root of our feelings will not be discussed. Because that might lead to the
okay, fine. Okay, I would say that we will try our best, even though I'm quite sure it'll still be raised up to not remember to forget about the minority representation thing. So we're gonna view the whitewashing as equal to the changing Hermione's
which you
race
already know
to-
this is a skewed
to
as fuck conversation.
which is a very bad way to think about
but this is also a good way to explore a singular point of contention.
yeah, I guess so.
Okay?
So we're gonna try our best. All right. So what? Okay. First thoughts, John.
First thoughts. Okay.
Initial
I
thoughts.
feel that race swapping,
Yeah.
right? I am neutral to okay with it, right?
Yeah.
If it does not get in the way of storytelling.
Okay. To me, if I remove the minority representation
Yeah.
thing, I don't think it matters.
Like you race swap, okay.
Yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If I
Okay.
gender also can. If I
So-
change the alien also can.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Then the conversation will go nowhere. But like
okay, fine. Change gender can. I think you can change it.
okay, but I give you an example for why I justify my case.
Yeah.
Okay. Why I say if it doesn't get the story is fine. So I give you an example. If let's say you race swap, right? Velma and Daphne, which is actually happening. For the show, right?
Yeah.
It does not get in the way of their characters.
Yeah.
Right? I feel that like regardless of in fact, right, in certain aspects it may add to it.
How we
Because the archetype for this character has always been Velma is the little bit nerdy, you know. Daphne is your
the yeah.
quite smart also sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's it feels like there is no stereotype that it particularly sticks to in the source material.
Yeah.
Right? So having them switch races does not impact the storytelling as much, right? Regardless of race, you can be nerdy. Regardless of race, you can be clever. You can be typical damsel in distress. You know, right? That's fine, right?
Yeah.
But I do have a little bit of a discomfort with the Shaggy swap. Why? Firstly, right, Shaggy as a character, right, carries a certain vibe that I don't want to say cannot be played by any other race. Right? But fits a certain stereotype. And the second thing is I am uncomfortable with how the name got changed.
Okay, fine. I think that's a
It
bit...
almost feels like they
Yeah.
knew intentionally that this is gonna happen.
I feel like it... Okay, fine, fair enough. I think the name swap, whatever, is
Yeah.
completely different. That's about like whether or not you should stick to the source material.
Yeah.
I think that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But I feel... Okay. I said this before we rolled the cameras, but I'm going to say it again. Like, do you feel it's because we think that Shaggy is... the character of Shaggy is tied so intricately to his race that no other race can play Shaggy
I feel
other
that
than
like,
the white man.
I feel that like there is a certain aspect of it that makes me want to say yes. But
Does
I
that
also
make us
can't
racist?
A little bit, I feel. A little bit.
That's
But-
quite fucked up, right? Isn't that fucked up?
Especially
that we
when
think
people suddenly more okay these days, right? No,
That's
but
quite
like,
fucked
okay,
up, either
it
way.
is a little bit fucked up. So
Yeah.
I hesitate to 100% agree with me because
Yeah.
it is not me trying to be anti-hypocrite or whatever fuck shit, right?
Yeah.
But it's me trying to analyze myself because I can't figure out fully why as well. I can
Yeah,
only
why?
feel that it's uncomfortable because it gets in the way of storytelling. Like, I give you an example. If you have a different race character who is able to carry the same vibe forward, then by all means. But there are certain stereotypical things that follow this arc of
Yeah.
character,
Yeah.
which we cannot explain. It's very nuanced.
Okay, I do think, but
And that's where it kind of gets in the way for me.
okay, what other scenario? Okay, you also mentioned the Mulan. If let's say we
Yeah.
had this scenario where Mulan
If
is...
we swap the roles, okay, let's say
Yeah,
we flip
yeah.
the script,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If Mulan was whitewashed and played by a white character,
Yes.
that hella gets in the way.
Okay.
There's a white girl growing up in a village in China.
I mean, there are white girls growing up in
Nobody's saying there
villages of
isn't.
China.
But there's no fucking warrior Chinese white girl. Who,
Maybe
by the
there
way,
is.
whose source material actually goes back into ancient texts.
Yeah.
So if there is I feel like if there is a source material that drives the story drives the story forward with the characters being very central to it, right? You go and race swap the character. You go race swap the character, right? It's tough. It's a tough sell.
I don't think it... Okay. I think it only matters to us because we care about these characters.
That's partially true.
Because like we care about Mulan, of course, because growing up, she was the one Asian representation in fucking
cartoons.
mass media, right? In
Yeah.
like Disney movies. And I mean, you don't count like maybe like
Aladdin.
other like Pocahontas or something.
Yeah,
Like
Aladdin.
she's
Pocahontas is not Asian. What the
not
fuck?
Asian as in like people of color,
Uh-huh.
like within the Disney princesses.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Mulan
yeah.
matters to us a lot because it's the one I guess person of color that we can see on screen as a
Who
kid.
isn't
Right?
really a princess, but yeah.
She's not technically she's
Yeah.
like just inducted a princess, but
Yeah.
who the fuck is a fuck?
Yeah.
She's a Disney princess. Like, I
Okay,
don't care whether
okay.
Disney calls us a princess. I don't care. Okay, so anyways, she's the one. That's why we care about her, and that's why we care about whether or not like they are casting it right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Goku, like we all care about Goku, right? Because we all, of course, we all fucking care about Goku.
And we all know Sun Wukong.
And yeah, exactly. So we all care about Goku. That's why when they recast Goku as a white ass guy that looks like he's from Green Day, then we all like, hey, bro,
What the fuck's going
the
on,
fuck is
right?
going on? Because we care about them. But quite honestly, there are plenty of characters that we recast that like straight up I didn't even know. Like I was googling like race swapping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized that like Heimdall in the comics is white and now it's black. Or like Nick Fury, the one eye guy in Avengers. In the movies, in the cartoons are white. He's white, but in the movies he's black. He's played by Samuel L. Jackson. And all these characters, like quite honestly, I didn't even notice they were race swapped. And quite honestly, even now that I know, I don't care. Because I was never attached to the source material. And I didn't really, I guess, center my childhood, or my childhood isn't centered around it, or my personality isn't centered around that source material. So to me, recasting it doesn't really matter. But I think, do you feel like it's mainly because of that, or do you think it's a small element to why
I feel like for
angry?
me, right, for certain characters, depending on how invested I am in the show, like
Yeah.
I totally agree with you how important this show was in my childhood.
Yeah.
I would say for me it's 50-50. Definitely characters that I feel more for, right, will make me feel like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because that's not how I remember those characters to be.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think is what drives some of these sentiments on the internet. Because just because of 50-50, some people are clearly more extremist with this ideal. Right?
Yeah.
But that being said, I still feel that all the more that drives a wedge if it gets in the way of storytelling. So we'll use Mulan as an example.
Okay.
Okay. So if Mulan was casted, if they casted a white person, or for that matter,
any other race, right? Okay,
right,
yeah.
to play Mulan,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a bad time.
Okay, if we come from it from the lens of someone who has never watched Mulan,
Right.
or like was never watched Mulan, never ever interested in it,
Yeah.
and it's the first time they're watching Mulan, would Mulan's race be that big of a deal?
I think if, let's say, we take away the whole idea of representation, and then
Yeah,
they
if you take
watch,
away representation,
and
yeah.
they watch a movie that starts with ancient China as the premise in the bottom lower third,
Yeah.
and then they freaking see Madonna turn to face the camera in the middle of China.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Okay, I gotta be honest with you. I feel like it doesn't matter. Okay, here's my thing, all right? I gotta be okay. Once again, this is removing the representation thing.
Yeah.
Because my real opinion is that is fucked up because of representation. But if you move it right, we have suspended our disbelief for worse.
We have.
For significantly worse.
No, I understand. No, but like there's
So why can't we do it for this?
Because it gets in the way of the story, my dude. Think about it.
How does it get in the way?
Mulan is the whole story of Mulan is about an Asian girl who fought societal norms
Yeah.
to fight in the war by pretending to replace her father
Yes.
and then save all of China.
Yes.
Save all of China. We will never know whether it's true, but basically that's the story.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
These are very nuanced Asian wins
Okay.
in society that where the repercussions of this kind of societal structure is felt even now in our modern lives, where a rebellion for the sake of family is something that is an uphill struggle that every Asian person can relate to.
Yeah. Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you recast the person like that, right, it gets in the way of storytelling because you'll be like, hey, they're gonna tell my Asian history, my Asian story, and then, like I said, suddenly Madonna turns to face the camera. No hate against Madonna. I think
Madonna's
she's great.
great.
But I
Yeah,
think
what's up?
Madonna's appearance is very easy to describe a white-looking person,
But
a Caucasian.
if it's a good relatable story, and it's a storyline that we can understand as like Mulan, like as Asians, we sincerely relate to and is relatable. Does it really matter that it's played by Madonna?
Yes, it does. Because if the story, for me personally, I feel it definitely does. Because if it's played by a Caucasian person, it takes away the fact is that movies, it's not a book, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Movies have has a visual element to it.
Yeah.
And the visuals clearly have a big part to play.
Yes.
You know, everyone will be reading fucking books and movies where cinemas will be going out of cinemas and streaming services will be going out of business.
Yeah.
So the whole point of a visual element of it is that besides spectacle, right? When you watch something, you relate to it through what you see.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important, you see. If someone sticks out like that, it gets in the way of of storytelling. If it's a book,
Yeah.
and they never ever mention whether Mulan is white or not,
It doesn't matter. Right?
it doesn't matter. And
Yeah,
I'm going
frankly,
to bet
you can
bottom
imagine
dollar.
anything, right?
I'm going to bet bottom dollar that most people will imagine in their heads Mulan to be an Asian lady in whatever shape or form they can imagine her to
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
But will there be people who might imagine her as white? I won't put it past the 7 billion people in the world.
I think they'll just imagine their race, right?
They might. But
I'm
then
assuming.
again, they hear the premise China.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
No, so therein is my point, you see.
Yeah.
If it does not get in the way of the story, where the nuances don't fit the visual character, then by all means, I'll give you another example. If we race swap, well, I hesitate to use the term whitewash here because nowadays the term whitewash comes with a very heavy negative sentiment.
Yeah.
But if we replaced a character with Caucasian white characters,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Let's say Lilo and Stitch,
Yeah.
right? We swap out the two ladies
Yeah.
to make them a pair of Caucasian white brothers.
Yes.
Not only are we removing, right, potentially a Hawaiian culture because that's where the family of Lilo and Stitch
Yeah.
are from,
Mm.
we're removing the female aspect of the story. Who's to say brothers cannot love as deeply as Lilo and her sister,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But clearly something gets in the way of this because this was a story whose source material
Yeah.
started out as Hawaiian ladies figuring out their Hawaiian life and then encountering an alien.
And therefore, he has been casted as a Hawaiian people.
Exactly. You cannot suddenly story continue and then be like, look, it's Luke and Stitch.
Okay, but we have suspended our disbelief with like Jake Gyllenhaal and what's that? The Prince of Persia. Is it Prince of Persia? Jake
I
Gyllenhaal,
think
right?
so, yeah.
Yeah, that like
No, but
he
people
looked
were-
kind of Middle Eastern, and we just assumed.
But people
he
were
was
not
Middle
chill
Eastern.
about that.
Okay, they weren't chill about it.
So it's the same thing here, you see. It's not about whether it's okay or not, but people were not chill about that because it does get in the way. You are the Prince of Persia.
And then Jake Gyllenhaal.
And then you got a freaking Swedish guy
you got Mysterio.
whose real surname is pronounced Gyllenhaal.
Is it really?
Yes. Gyllenhaal
Okay, fine, fair
to
enough.
play the Persian prince.
But okay, wait. Okay, I don't know. If there was a Singapore, let's say 跑马孩子, right?
Yes.
Like was recasted into any other race, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's say for sake of this argument, white.
I wouldn't say it's offensive,
Yeah.
but it will hit different enough that I will not enjoy it. So that's where it gets bad, you see. I'm not saying that I'm offended by the change of Shaggy to Norville. I'm offended by the fact that like Mulan will be casted by a freaking Caucasian ass lady. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying.
Mulan would not be custom. It's just
But like if
in
those
this
scenarios
hypothetical
happen,
scenario,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
offended by it.
Yeah.
What instead I'll feel is that it'll be very, very uncomfortable to watch.
And you think you won't reach the full potential of the story.
Correct. It doesn't
Okay.
matter whether, right,
Fair.
these people are white, black, purple, green.
Yeah.
As long as they are not the race of the country that they exist in, right?
It's bad.
It makes no sense. Or the race according
Okay.
to the race according to the source material. Because the whole point of it is that why I feel why a lot of these stories succeeded is because these source material characters' entire backstory, regardless of race, language, or religion, right, was built from the ground up into something that became beloved.
Yeah.
To suddenly take one aspect or take one character and switch it to something else, right, gets in the way of the character's entire backstory.
Okay, I agree. I was giving this like anecdote before I wrote the cameras
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like when I was watching the Curse Child, Harry Potter Curse Child, the theater show.
Uh-huh.
Like I thought of, by the way, first of all, fantastic theater.
Right, I love Harry Potter, but I haven't
should
watched
definitely
it.
watch it.
Yeah.
Took me one whole fucking day because they have two parts because J.K. Rowling just cannot write like short scripts for some reason.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just J.K. doing
Just
J.K. things.
JK doing JK things.
So, but when they revealed Hermione was black,
Yeah.
and Hermione like walked onto stage and did her Hermione things, like I could hear like a murmur in the audience, and everyone was confused because everyone's like, "Who is that?" Because first of all, no one has there been any black character in Harry Potter movie, the cinematic
Yes.
Harry Potter?
Yes.
Okay, but it's not Hermione.
Not Hermione, yeah, for
So
sure.
it's not Hermione. So I was about to say there's no black characters, but apparently I remember wrongly.
Got quite a
Okay.
lot.
Oh, really, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Characters of color also.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay,
In
my
fact,
bad.
there were twin Indian sisters.
Oh yeah, what am I talking
there were
about?
many.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, but Hermione wasn't black. So when she came in and she was like talking about how Ron, she was married to Ron and he got a child, and everyone was like, who's this bitch? Like damn long. Then like even Casey was confused. Then the only reason why I knew is because I had the context that that I knew about this way before because
Right.
it was a controversy like years ago.
Right.
And then
right.
I was like, oh yeah, that's Hermione. They just recasted her black. Then Casey was like, oh. But I think the whole audience was like figuring out on the
Yeah,
spot.
that's the thing, you see.
But honestly speaking, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not that big of a deal, right?
No, like I said,
In all things
it's not
considered-
a big deal.
It's as in not okay.
Definitely isn't.
It's not that big of a deal that
But
we had to
let
spend
me
like
tell you, does
30 seconds figuring out.
Does it get in the way?
But it's like not that bad, not that much.
But you
in a
answer me
way,
yes or
right?
no first. Does
Okay,
it get
yeah,
in
it
the
does
way?
get in the way a little bit.
And for what?
The representation thing, no?
That's it. Right? So I feel that we do not want to encourage the representation thing and elaborate on it too much. But for this point, I have to talk about it. So
Yeah.
for representation, I do not think that representation is a bad thing at all. In fact, it is one of the most welcome steps because people are starting to become more self-aware that
Yeah.
media has a big impact on the world.
course.
And the representation helps people to become better people.
And 100% matters.
100%, we can all we can all have a consensus and agree on this.
Yes.
But there is a problem, right? Representation cannot be the catch-all term that they throw, right? To stumble up stories that have backstories that were built up upon things that were not as inclusive. If you really, this is my point now.
Okay.
If you really love a franchise so much that you want to create more media for it to get people interested, right? Then rewrite your own characters into it. Create new ones.
Like
Create
you don't
new
have
ones.
to
You don't
touch
take the old ones
and
and mash them up into all. It can be anything. What if one day, right, J.K. Rowling decides to write together that actually, right, Harry Potter is an animagus.
What's animagus?
Or rather a shapeshifter. He's a shapeshifter,
Okay.
just like Tonks.
Uh-huh.
And Harry Potter all this while, right, has been Asian. Everything's possible. It's magic, right?
Okay, fine.
Or would that not fuck with everyone?
That would fuck with everyone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Or they suddenly randomly revealed that Velma, to link back to the main Scooby Doo story, they were all robots.
Okay, but
Nobody say cannot, right?
can, yeah.
So that's where
That's
that's where it trips people, and people are like, what the fuck, it's such a cop out.
But the thing is that Marvel has been doing that already, right?
But you know why Marvel can do that?
Because they did it from the start.
And they did it in multiverses. So these people existed alongside each other.
Okay, fine.
I'll give you a good example because I love that you brought up Marvel because DC and Marvel and comics were the OG at doing this shit.
Yeah. And like
OG.
recasting thing and like
Creating their newest
and
characters.
also like creating existing characters and putting their spin onto it.
But that's the thing, you see. They create new ass characters.
No, but there are some characters that were created off like based on, let's say, Spider-Man. Like they see Peter Parker Spider-Man and then they created Miles Morales. Or they see Peter Parker Spider-Man and they had their own spin to the character.
Exactly.
Or like Batman, or like even Batman like had each creator, comic book creator for that certain like episode or what's it called? I don't think it's episode, certain issue
arc or
whatever. They have their own interpretation of the character. Right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, like we are very okay with that, but why are we not okay with like Mindy Kaling like doing the exact same thing for her own cartoon?
Because there is no Scooby Doo multiverse unless now there is. You see? That's where it gets tricky because comics book do it very well because clearly, right, in the early days of comics, I'm not gonna say that they're saints because in the early days of the comics, they were facing this exact same problem.
Yeah.
Okay? Too much white characters and then the sudden random introduction of race swapping or whatever fuck shit.
Yeah.
It is in comic book history.
Yeah.
And then they came up with a very clever strategy, and that is to have these characters as new characters that exist alongside all the characters. So everyone understood that once in a while, these two can appear on screen.
Yeah,
on
like,
frame.
It's like the Loki one, right?
It is.
Now we got female Loki. And
We got
Loki
kid
as a
Loki, we
crocodile.
got old Loki.
Got Loki that's not even a human.
Exactly, it's a crocodile. No, but like that's where I think it can be used to be done well. So I give you an example. You talk about Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Yeah.
If you follow Norse mythology,
Yeah.
Thor, white ass Nordic person. Heimdall should be a white ass Nordic person.
Exactly.
So maybe there's a multiverse with a white ass Heimdall.
Ooh.
And you know that's fine.
Yeah.
Why? Because Heimdall, whatever color,
Yeah.
does not get in the way of the story.
Okay,
Heimdall
but
can
like-
be purple. Okay? Heimdall can be purple. He just needs to have his eyes that can see through the realms and his sword that can bring down the Bifrost.
Do you think it's because we don't associate any white characters with any personality trait?
No, not really.
Is it not?
Yeah. So hear me out that there is like okay. I struggle to find an example to tie into a personality trait per se.
Yeah.
Right? But like there are certain white characters that are, I feel, right, fluid enough that you don't need to be casted by white characters.
But
there are some.
aren't that most white characters?
But there are some that white characters have to be played by white characters.
Like who?
Like I give you an example.
Who are the white characters that have to be played by white
Okay, you want to hear me out?
Yeah,
I
hear you
feel
out.
this is gonna be a bit of a hot take, but personally, I feel that it fits the story perfect.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Boys?
Oh yeah.
You know Homelander,
Yeah.
right?
That the arrogant guy?
The arrogant Superman.
Yeah.
bad guy, right? That one has to be played by a white guy. You wanna know why?
That's like the worst thing to say.
No, that's the story, you see.
Yeah.
Because the dark part of the story is that they were trying to manufacture the perfect white man
Yeah.
as a superhero, as the role model for this dark, shady organization
Yeah.
to have as their poster boy.
Mm.
If you recasted Homelander, it's gonna change so much Why? Because the build-up for this character's backstory is such that there is this dark history that people will be like, yes, there was a time where white people wanted to be the dominant race.
Yeah.
And hence, I can immediately infer why VOD Industries in The Boys decided to make Homelander white. He's a lab baby. He can be purple. He literally can be purple.
Yeah.
But why is he white?
It's because
White, blonde hair, blue eyes.
it adds to the story lah.
Exactly.
Okay,
if he's purple, okay, purple might get in the story less. But if he's Asian, it gets in the way of the story 100%. 100%, no need to say. Alright?
Okay.
And that's what I'm trying to get at here. If we take representation out of the conversation.
If we take representation out, which is a very we should do a whole ass. Yeah, we should do another whole ass episode about it. Because representation is a very complicated thing.
It's too complicated for us to grapple with tonight. But that's my point.
I agree. Okay,
if it gets in the way of the story, I'm not gonna say I'm offended by it. I'm just gonna be like, that does not feel right.
Yes.
Not because I hate either race or that I'm trying to be
gatekeeping.
Yeah, or like whatever fuck shit, right? None of that. I just feel that the story, right, cannot be told as well because these characters have a backstory steeped in that particular racial aspect. There is something. I don't want to say that it's their entire personality trait. And I'm not saying that, Shaggy's change to Norville, who is a black character, is going to be bad. No, who's to say that? The show hasn't even come out. We can't say something is bad or good before it even come out, right? But like, there is a aspect, right, from this Hoyt Shaggy character that is now forever lost. And why it's important that it's forever lost is because it was built upon this.
Yeah.
Right? It was built upon this not just this one thing, of course. This entire character had that element.
And race is one of them.
And one of the things about it was that his racial element, however big, however small, played a part.
I think another thing that I was like a bit like, I would say
that's why I have less problem with the Little Mermaid.
Because you don't think the race matters in that story. It's a
fucking mermaid, man. It's a fish.
Fair enough. Is mermaid a fish?
I don't know. It's fish enough. It's more fish than you and me.
Okay. Would you consider mermaid a fish?
Dude. She to remove her tail to grow legs.
So she a fish?
Fish. As fuck. Fish as fuck.
Fish as fuck.
Fish as fuck.
God damn it.
How was our rating for the Little Mermaid? Fish as fuck.
Anyways, I think another I would say I don't think it's like a exact point per se, but I think it's a side thing that I was keep thinking about. It's like, I agree with everything you said. And part of it is because we have to accept that there are social norms that come with certain races, and there are social stereotypes, whether good or bad, that come with these things, which help to add / detract from a story. So when you're casting, for example, Homelander, having him as white comes with a certain stereotype, and because that adds, in a weird way, it's purposeful and adds to the story, right? And that I definitely agree. But at the same time, like all these social norms, to me, it's like a chicken and egg thing with social norms and media. So, like, of course, social media is affected by social norms, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we have these decisions that are being made about like casting and race, and not even just race, but like gender and different things lah. So that's how social norms affect the media industry. But at the same time, media industry has the potential to affect social norms as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in a world where we recast. So basically there is a world where we have recasted enough or recasted races enough or race swapped enough to the point where these existing racial social norms no longer exist. In a far away future multiversal ideal world. This has been done enough that we no longer peg any stereotype to a race.
Yeah.
And isn't that alright too?
That's alright, but that's overly idealistic. Let's be real here. In the short/long existence of humanity, clearly a racial element runs deep enough than skin. Runs deeper than skin.
Yeah.
And hear me out, okay? I do agree with you that there's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem, right?
Yeah.
But but also recent history has shown that like in order to circumnavigate some of these problems, right? Very talented people have been very talentedly creating brand new stories without having to encroach on older stories and cause these kind of issues. Like I call them issues for the lack of a better word.
Yeah,
I give you an example, okay, which I think is another example that everyone can agree upon. A show recently that is almost purely Asian centered, with a purely Asian cast that did super, super well, that explore a theme that has been explored to death. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. Yeah, I don't even need to say it. You know what I'm talking about. You see, and that is a show. That is a show that is completely created fresh. You don't need to argue about who is being recasted. You don't need to argue about whether it is an American story or a migrant story or Asian story, or a male story or a female story. No, because your character is yours. It's fresh. You don't need to go and dig up a can of worms because you decided to change a beloved character, whether beloved or not, is you don't really know until it happens. Right?
Okay.
And there is the other problem that I have. Right? Representation and creating characters for people to relate to, right, is, funnily enough, the entire reason we make stories in the first place.
Yes.
Which is why it's difficult to grapple with on why you will want to co-opt another character and change them to your liking. Yes, you can do that, for sure, right? You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. But does that make people uncomfortable? Yes. So, if there is this love for a particular genre, love for the particular universe, love for a particular storyline, right? Follow the story and create your own characters. Can what? People have been doing that since the dawn of, I don't know, D&D. Right? You can create your own storyline, you can create your own characters, you can make things completely fresh, and then you can have them as whatever fucking character you want. I give you a show recently that has struck me hard for having done this super duper well. Okay? From my time in the 90s and the 80s, there was, I wouldn't say 80s because I'm 90s, but like 80s TV shows also encouraged in that era. You know, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? He-Man had a female counterpart.
Yes.
She-Ra. Right? And She-Ra is a white ass princess of power, also holding a mega sword, just chopping things down, right? So She-Ra came out with Netflix. On Netflix it came out because She-Ra was never really explored. So they came out with a titular character, completely reworked her backstory because nobody really knew about She-Ra back then because everyone's focus was He-Man. Right? Came out with all sorts of stories about how LGBT inclusive narratives and everything. Detractors will say whatever the fuck they want, but that was fresh, that was original, and it didn't get in the way. And that's why I feel, right, a perfect balance has been struck.
Okay. I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Hey, maybe 10 years later, Stranger Things come on and 11 is a black person. I don't mind that, but that gets in the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Stranger Things, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But okay. I see where you're coming from. I think at the same time, I do understand why people want to dig up like an actual franchise or a known character and like rework it, because these known characters come with also their bigger fan base, and therefore it adds to the whole. If they especially if their goal is representation, it helps to, I won't say shortcut it, but it helps to it helps with
helps to draw attention.
Yeah, helps to draw attention, and as compared to like, I think like Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
Yeah, but hear me out. If you okay, you finish your point, then I want to add on to that.
For example, like Everything Everywhere All at Once is a completely different story. There was no guarantees that will have worked. It just happened to work. Right. But if you had but as compared to, for example, Goku, like they just reworked Goku to be whatever they want, right? And that works because it's fucking Goku.
It didn't really work. It flopped.
It flopped because it's a sucky, terrible movie. But it worked because, but people knew about Goku because it's fucking Goku.
I feel like for,
you know what I mean?
For Dragon Ball, the live action,
before
the white guy got in the way of the movie got into his own way.
That's a very bad example because the movie is just terrible.
It kind of like tied its own shoelaces together. Oh my god, why can't I run? Then fall down.
Okay, maybe that's not very good, but you get what I mean.
Right.
So, I don't know. I understand why they want to do it. Ideally, of course, I agree that we shouldn't, especially if your main goal is representation, you shouldn't let like these things stop you. You should try to create your own characters. Or like, for example, like Shang-Chi, like I think what Marvel did with Shang-Chi was great because they didn't rework another character. They just did Shang-Chi.
You just did the Asian guy with the Asian name.
Yeah, they just did that and it worked into the multiverse and everyone's happy, right? So I think that's the ideal way, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
I got a thought about the whole Scooby Doo thing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to talk about, because by right, what Velma the story is supposed to explore.
Yeah.
Right. It's about Mystery Inc., which is these kids.
Yeah.
Right. The mystery machine. Right. We all know that van, the hippie ass van, and how they got to, supposed to be like a prequel to how they got to being detectives and shit.
And so how they got Scooby Doo again?
Maybe, right? Who knows, right? Right. Hear me out. Okay. That is a clever like approach to telling their story, all that kind of thing. But then the fact you change the races and all that kind of things makes it very hard for people to be like, okay, I'm gonna be able to link it back to the main line story, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if, okay, within this beloved Scooby Doo universe, right, you told the stories of 4 people of color. Could be people of color because, you know, that is where we need representation most. Who were great fans of these teen detectives solving crimes.
Yeah.
And then in that same universe, they're always in the shadow of this original team, but also solving their own stories and their own crimes.
But do you think they would have gotten the same amount of traction?
I don't think so.
That's the problem.
But, right, there is where creativity is allowed to shine the most.
Yeah.
You always want people to not just rework the old, you want people more often to create something new.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Right? You don't just keep reworking the old, because you rework the old, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? But if you rework the old enough in a way that radically changes it, then people get affected, then it becomes a fiasco.
Yeah.
We do not want fiascos.
Yeah.
We waste a lot of energy when this could be channeled into more creative pursuits.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you created a bunch of fans and your story was so good, so good, it outshines freaking the main storyline,
yeah,
then you have a win. And there will show your talent.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what kind of story it is. You can write a story about, and I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there are many that have succeeded because of this. Inspired by another story, they create a story similar enough that it flies on its own and it just goes crazy. And then it becomes a fan base of its own.
The High School Musical.
Exactly.
The High School Musical Netflix one, the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, High School Musical. In fact, if you really think about it, comic books, right? The Boys is a fantastic example. It's a dark twist of it. One Punch Man is a fantastic example. Right?
One Punch Man? Oh.
Yeah. It's following the trope of an overpowered protagonist.
Oh, okay.
And then they created an entire story on its own that just went crazy.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So this is where the Everything Everywhere All at Once comes in as an example as well.
Yeah.
The exploration of scientific multiverses and one central bad guy trying to destroy all the timelines. Dude, this story fucking told to death.
Yeah.
Right? We may not be able to think of an example now. Is it an uncommon theme?
Yeah. No.
Right? It's next to fucking zombie apocalypse, right?
And nowadays COVID and nowadays viruses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair enough.
So you can always take this theme and create your own story with it. It doesn't matter one.
Okay, yeah.
And I
that's
think
true.
whether it does well or not, right? It's not because you didn't co-opt the original character. If it doesn't do well, it's because you didn't do a good show.
Ooh.
Hear me out. I got a good example.
Okay, I don't think it's as simple as that. But continue.
That's what I feel.
Okay,
but
yeah.
let me give you an example of why I feel that.
Yeah.
Because along with Everything Everywhere All at Once was the highly budgeted Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Released together.
And no one gave a fuck.
And everyone's
about Doctor Strange.
raving about freaking not Multiverse of Madness. They were raving about Everything Everywhere All at Once. At the end of the day, will Marvel make more money? Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
But just because
It's just because big corporation backing
Yeah.
big cinema channel more screens. You know, it could be those. It
Everything
could be a
Everywhere
whole
Once was
bunch
a
of things.
projector, dude.
But Everything Everywhere Everyone's was so fantastic, and people were suddenly open their eyes to the fact that hey, Asian stories are fantastic stories to watch.
Okay, I do think that there's a bit more complicated than that. I feel like not everything that in media we all know this, right? But not everything that is good will be seen, and not everything that's seen is good, right?
Yeah.
So I think that plays to this also. So it's not. I don't think it's as simple as as long as you make a good movie, you'll be seen. Because I don't think
It
it
will
works
not.
that way.
It will not. But it will lay the groundwork for future representation and future approaches to character development.
Okay, yeah, I get. Yeah,
Strong
I can
media role models are born. They're not co-opted. They're born. They're created. Think about it, okay? You know who is a very prominent figure that has stepped, I say recent, but it's been a while, that has stepped into the scene of showmaking and has made so many waves.
Game Peel.
Yes. Oh my god.
Like Jordan Key?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Think about
Is
it.
it Jordan Key?
Jordan Peele.
Peele, oops, my bad.
Jordan Key, what the fuck?
I'm an idiot.
But Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Jordan Peele, yeah.
He has come in from basically out of fucking nowhere and made so many hit movies.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean
racial.
by...
There's always
There's always representation.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he knows the story best when it comes from that kind of angle. And this is what I mean by role models are born. And if your role model is one to push the narrative of racelessness or racial equality, don't co-opt another story. Create your own story that pushes that narrative instead. Be your own Jordan Peele.
Okay, you know what? I can get with that. I do think that maybe we are not I do think maybe we're not considering certain other perspectives, especially from a movie production standpoint or scriptwriter standpoint or like from a if like a Hollywood person came and watched this podcast, they'll be like, that's way too naive or it's not as simple as that. Maybe we're not considering certain perspectives.
Maybe we're too idealistic.
Maybe we are. But as far as we know, this is as far as our world is, here's what we think it is. And I'm okay with that. I think maybe next time we can get someone else on who maybe knows a little bit more than us in the movie making industry.
Jordan Peele.
Why don't you just go for the top?
I know you're watching this.
We all know Jordan Peele is watching it. He has to be one of the 1,000% that watch our podcast every week.
Yeah, so I think Jordan Peele, you should just get us out, man. Not we hit him up, right?
Yeah, he should hit us up.
He hit us up.
He should DM us.
Yeah.
Because evidently there's a power dynamic and we have to respect it,
Clearly like the director should come and talk to the major network.
Exactly. The major network, exactly. Then he should pitch to us what he wants to do on the episode.
Jokes aside, okay. I'm glad we had this conversation because it helped me think about it a lot more. I feel that like I'm able to sort of solidify my thoughts a little bit more about why there's a discomfort, and I really can narrow it down to two main things. It used to be one and I don't know, right? So two main things. One is because these characters are close to me, close to heart.
Yeah.
The other one is because it gets in the way of the storytelling. Those are the two main things that make me not offended, not hateful, not like boycott, fuck this shit. No, it's more like
it's a meh.
Fine, I'll watch it.
Okay.
You know?
I do. Okay.
Which do you really want that to be the
first
sentiment
thing, right?
for your show?
Like you walk in the theater, the first thing you think of is
people like,
this is gonna be a Scooby Doo movie without Scooby Doo.
Yeah. Do you really want people to go into your show and be like, fine, I'll watch it?
Yeah, it's true.
You know? Because that's how I'll approach it. I'm not offended. I don't dislike it. I'll just be like, you know what? All right.
Yeah.
And is that really, really, really what you want for your show?
That's
because
true,
I go into a Jordan Peele show, be like, fuck yeah, we're gonna be blown away. Fuck yeah. Ever since Get Out.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not once has he failed us.
I mean, he has only had 3 movies?
Which is what? Good enough?
Fair
Good
enough.
enough of it.
Good enough for statistical analysis.
They're not 3 PowerPoint presentations. They're 3 Hollywood movies.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
What are you saying, Lester Park?
I think we are coronating him a little bit too fast.
The number 3 sounds like a very small number in a different context, huh? 3 rice grains. Oh dear, that's very little.
It's not Quentin Tarantino
That's
quite
very
yet.
little rice.
You know.
Oh my god, 3 statues
It's
of
not
liberties.
Wes Anderson quite yet, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Quite yet. Wes Anderson did a bit more than 3, you know. Okay, but I think I really think this conversation is very complicated, but we haven't considered the whole like minority representation thing, which I think complicates it like significantly more.
Absolutely.
Like it's a lot more complicated
That
once you
will
consider that.
get out of hand.
That would be very complicated.
And I don't really want to discuss this with a race without a panel of races.
Exactly, without someone who is that our current only qualification is that we watch movies.
And that in the Hollywood world we are considered minority.
Yeah.
So Jordan Peele, I know you're watching.
If you don't come, I'll show you a racist. Just kidding.
He said it.
Just kidding. But I do think that it's another episode that, if you guys are interested, do tell us.
Yeah.
We can explore.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm actually quite happy with where this episode is.
Same.
I think we have come to.
I feel that we have answered a few
consensus.
questions, but we still have a lot more question marks surrounding this topic.
The biggest question I want to answer is all these things that we said so far, is it worth sacrificing for the sake of minority representation? I think that's the biggest question. All the things you just mentioned, whether or not it makes you feel uncomfortable, whether or not you feel close to a character, whether or not you piss the fandom off, are all of these worth
sacrificing
a 6-year-old who is a person of color look up in screen and going, that's someone that I can look like, I can be my role model and I can relate to, and in their life they're going to be so much, they feel a lot more validated as a person of color. Are those three things worth just the representation? I think that's fucking complicated.
How about we end off this episode, right? We end off this episode, right?
It's just yes or no, and we don't give context.
By saying worth or not worth, okay?
And we don't give context and
we don't care, and then we'll just say bye.
Okay, yeah.
Let me think real quick.
And then if you guys want to hear our context, then let us know.
After we get Jordan Peele on the show.
Must have Jordan Peele, no, we won't do the episode evidently. Do you have an answer, John? It's a fucking difficult question. That is a damn difficult question because we can list the factors out, right? But whether or not it's worth it, right, is the tough part. Because, my God, this is when shit gets real.
Okay, I feel that my answer.
No context, just yes or no.
Okay,
worth,
I would say worth or not worth, but I will end off with one more sentence. That's it.
Okay, can go.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
On 3, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Worth. Yeah, I think it's worth.
But should we?
Okay,
that's how we end it. Thank you so much everyone for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed this really intense discussion. I know it can get political. I know it can get toxic. So for those of you watching this episode, I encourage you all to go into this conversation with an open mind. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have your minds change. I know it sounds like, whoa, we're all aggressively discussing some shit that we don't really know about. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You're right. But we are also very aware that we might be wrong.
Yes. And you know what? Do discuss with us because we also want to know other people's perspectives. For the both of us, we come from very similar backgrounds in terms of the experience we have with TV shows and movies, and that's why it's very easy for us. Yeah. And that's why it's kind of easy for us to be able to find middle ground. But we would like to hear what your thoughts are. But yeah,
I'm quite sure there are different people who have significantly different thoughts than us.
Absolutely.
But with that, I mean, okay. And
like Jordan Peele, right? Our boy.
Yeah. Our boy Jordan Peele, who is coming on a show, by the way. but I think that's what makes the whole internet thing or the human race great, is because everyone got different opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes it part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, stay safe, don't get COVID. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye. Bye.